What's up, motherfucker? What's up, motherfucker? What's up? Yeah, looks pretty good. Hey, this is probably not that good. I don't need this one. I don't need this to remember you by. Mm. 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 Nice. Nice. This is America first. I was born in America. This is the only country I've ever known, and I will die for America. Can you say the same? We paved the way with our forces. Workers and all the alt-righters that got banned, all the alt-righters that got slandered, even people that killed themselves. Our forces paved the way for you now to walk over. And you can't give us acknowledgement. Now you want to slam the door on us. It's not right. It's not right. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. It's going to be only America first. America first. The American people will come first once again. With respect, the respect that we deserve. Fuck the nation. Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We got a great show for you tonight. Very excited to be back here with you tonight on Monday. We have a lot to talk about tonight, lots to get into. Big show. Our featured story, we're talking all about this Tucker Carlson interview in the New York Times. And wow, I'm a little offended. I have to say I'm a little bit offended. I think I got my feelings hurt a little bit. Big interview with Tucker in the New York Times. I think it dropped yesterday or Saturday. And it's worth watching the entire thing if you haven't watched it or read it. I think it's worth reading, watching in its entirety. A lot was said. And tonight we're going to work through all of it, or at least some of the key details. And there's a few things in particular that I want to talk about. And obviously the big one, if you read anything about it or you read the interview, the big thing relating to this show is that Tucker said that he regrets interviewing me. Ouch. Okay, tell me how you really feel. As you know, I did an interview with Tucker Carlson in late October of last year. It is the second biggest show on his YouTube channel. It's literally, I think it's number 3 or number 2, 25 million views, second biggest video on his channel. Totally massive. It spawned this huge controversy that lasted weeks, months. And Tucker said in the interview that he regrets doing it. He says that actually it was just a big distraction from the bigger issues like the war in Iran and the economic system and foreign policy, among other things. And I don't know, that's kind of offensive to me. So we'll talk about that comment. He went into a lot of detail about me in general, though, not just about the interview. He also talked about J.D. Vance. And let me just tell you, if you read this interview and you don't think that something is up there, you must just not be that intelligent. Or you're not paying attention. Because this interview is weird. They ask Tucker what he thinks about J.D. Vance and how the war in Iran is going to hurt him politically. And so Tucker weighs in and says, I think Vance is in this very difficult position. He opposes the war in Iran, and yet he has to support it because he's not the president. He's the vice president. And this is where it gets a little bizarre. So the interviewer says, when's the last time you talked to him? And Tucker says, I don't know. And the interviewer says, really? You don't know the last time you talked to the vice president of the United States? And he goes, I don't know. I just don't want to get him in trouble. And she goes, well, what do you think about how your son just got kicked out of J.D. Vance's office? Tucker Carlson's son, Buckley, was working in the press office for J.D. Vance. He just left a few weeks ago. Tucker says, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't know. He says, I don't know anything about that. Ask my son. I don't know why he left JD's office. I don't know. I have nothing to do with that. Really? He goes further. He says, I think my son should be left out of this. Why would he be? You are one of the most influential commentators in America. J.D. Vance is the vice president. Your son works for him. We're in the middle of this war that you're criticizing every day. J.D. Vance opposes it. The president launched it. You don't know why he got kicked out. You don't think that's newsworthy? And then here's where it gets really good. Take a wild guess. Where do you think that went? Where do you think that led to? Because that wasn't the complete answer. After he denies knowing what's going on in his son's life, and then saying we shouldn't even talk about it, where do you think it went after that? Where do you think we landed? Take a wild guess. Take a stab in the dark. Literally, Tucker Carlson, guess anything. What do you think he said next? If you guessed it landed in the blood guilt speech about, like, Christianity and the Jews, you would be correct. Because somehow how he got there. It went from, I don't know why my son left Vance's office, to we shouldn't even be talking about that. And then he stuck the landing with, he said, and this is why people come to America, because we don't believe in blood guilt. Those aren't our values. And you want to say, I don't even know. So I don't even know what that has to do with anything at all at this point. It kind of made sense in the context of Gaza and Israel and anti-Semitism in response to Israel. Okay, it's a little convoluted, but you see the connection. I don't even know what we're doing with that one anymore. That's just like the get out of jail free card. He's just spamming his alts. That's every question. Well, I don't believe in blood guilt. That's against my religion. Okay, what does that have to do with your son working for the vice president? Sorry, I don't see the connection. So anyway, he got into that. And then here was the grand finale. And this is really the important thing that I want to get into, because this ties it all together. In the end, he painted a very, let's say, distinct picture of what his worldview really is. Because then they revisited me in the context of what I represent. And the interviewer said, Nick Fuentes is a race guy. He talks about race and the Jews and religion. And Tucker brings it all home by saying that I, as a representative of that conversation about identity, race, religion, world Jewry, am a distraction. Then me talking about those issues is a giant sideshow. It's a diversion, it's a distraction that the elites actually like, that the economic and foreign policy elites see as useful, because I'm distracting from the so-called real problems, which are the way that labor is taxed in the country, or the way our economic system works. And that any discussion of race, religion, Jews is just a giant diversion from talking about economic populism. And to bring it all home, that is represented by J.D. Vance. So when I say that J.D. Vance could not possibly be loyal to white people because he married a first-generation Indian immigrant, Tucker says I am a calculated distraction created by the elites, getting everybody into the weeds, dividing and conquering the nation on the basis of race and religion, so that J.D. Vance can't win the presidency and increase the capital gains tax or something, so that J.D. Vance can't tackle crypto scams and the real estate affordability crisis. So that was the interview. And there's sort of like an interesting through line. These things might seem to be disconnected or separate, but by the end of the show, you'll see how they're all deeply related. And it is really a story about me and J.D. Vance. But it's not really a story about me and J.D. Vance. It's a story about the Trump movement and who will succeed Trump. It's about these two different threads that have been running throughout this entire decade since Trump won the election. And that is the grassroots energy that Trump unleashed. It is the real flesh and blood American people, the grassroots, real Americans, who are fed up with the way in which the country is changing. It's religion, it's traditions, yes, it's color, it's race, it's demographics. And that is represented by me and by the Groypers. We are the young people. We are the young people that are staring down the barrel of a future, not where we won't have jobs, but where we will be a minority in our own land, where hypergamy and complete apostasy from religion and the church has left everybody hollow and miserable. That is one faction which woke up from Trumpism and which might be poised to take the baton from him and harness some of that energy. And the other thread is represented by J.D. Vance, who comes from a new money coalition. It's a new moneyed elite faction. He's obviously representative of, or puppeteered by, little tech. And these new technological moneyed interests coming from AI, crypto, to some extent, the satellites, rocket ships, all these other things that are emerging, all of that, and they are trying to steer some of the general popular discontent about a variety of issues into a hostile takeover against the left. And that's really all that is rotating out one group of elites from the Obama era, unions and Facebook and some of the Wall Street interests, and rotating in a new group of elites, which is Palantir and Elon Musk and David Sachs and Vance and apparently Tim Mellon and some of the other entry supporters, these interests that propelled Trump in 24. That seems to be what this is really about. And Tucker is situated in the middle, trying to mediate that conversation, clearly managing that conversation. Clearly somebody who is in the pocket for Vance, deeply allied with Vance and everybody involved with Vance, including Peter Thiel. And he recognizes that the Groypers are absolutely hostile to Vance and everything he represents. And so there's this careful perception management happening. How do we salvage Vance's reputation as an America First foreign policy guy who's going to run and win in 28? How do we do damage control against the Groypers led by this guy who recognize what it really is? That seems to be the crisis here. And you could tell that Tucker didn't really prepare for the interview because he didn't have a lot of straight answers. Like I said, they asked him, when do you talk to the vice president? I don't know. Why did your son get kicked out of his press office? I don't know. What do you think of... Here was another part which I omitted. Tucker says, well, it's knives out in the White House. Everybody wants J.D. Vance to fail. It's the neocons and the donors. And the interviewer says, really? Who? Who? Like who? Who wants J.D. Vance out of the White House? Tucker says, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I said. I don't know when I talked to him. I don't know who's trying to get him fired. I don't know why my son got kicked out of his office. I don't know if he's... Is that J.D. Vance is a good man who's going to fix all the problems and should be the president. So anyway, we're going to talk all about that. We'll work through the interview. Some very, very important stuff. Like, this is it. This is like the series finale type level stuff of America First. This is like when all the storylines come together in the end. I'm not exaggerating. And if you've been watching the show for a long time, you know this is true. These have always been the issues. The succession of Trump, personnel in Mar-a-Lago and the White House, these have always been the central issues. And it's been a battle for a long time. I used to call it Populist Inc. Now we recognize it as the Teal-verse, Little Tech, Populist Nationalist, or NatCon, whatever you want to call it. But it's them trying to skin suit the Trump movement, skin suit America First, steal and siphon and leech that energy, and like I said, use it to propel them into the seat of power versus us, versus the real people that the Trump movement actually spoke to. So we'll talk about all that. We're also going to get into the war in Iran if we have time. It looks like the war in Iran is about to start again. I told you it would. And who even really knows? I mean, it's such a load of crap. The latest is that the president posted on Truth Social that there is a new operation to open up the straits. So he posts on Truth Social that the U.S. military is going into the Strait of Hormuz, and we are going to use military ships to escort all the commercial ships out of the strait. There's 2,000 ships stuck inside the Persian Gulf, and Trump says the Navy is going to help them get out. Now, what do you think that looks like? If I told you that's the plan, what do you envision? Because everybody thought that what that meant is that the Navy is going to go into the Persian Gulf. They're going to cross the Strait of Hormuz into the Persian Gulf and escort the ships out. Well, if we could have done that, why didn't we do that? The reason we have not done that is because if a U.S. Navy destroyer goes into the strait, it will get bombed and destroyed because they're too slow. So those big Navy destroyers, they don't go through the strait. They can't, because if they do, they will get hit with trawlers. That's why there's been no operation like this. So people start to say, is that what we're seriously going to do? We're just going to walk right into the trap, dare Iran to hit us? And sure enough, Iran said if there is any interference from a foreign navy, we will bomb them. Trump corrects the record later in the day and says, actually, no, we're not escorting the ships. We're working with insurance companies and the companies that are backing these commercial routes, and we're going to effectively encourage them to leave the strait without an escort. And if Iran attacks them, then we're going to do something. Then what? That's the plan right now. We're encouraging the commercial ships to just take a chance and go, and we're daring Iran to hit the commercial ships without a Navy escort to protect them. And I guess if Iran does that, then we're going to retaliate, although how is unclear. So that's the plan right now. Now, in the middle of this, today, some of these ships tried to make it across the strait. Iran attacked them. The U.S. Navy attacked 6 speedboats that Iran deployed. And then, allegedly, Iran launched an attack on the UAE oil fields, on their storage facilities. And now the UAE says they will retaliate. And Israel is allegedly looking to restart the war with Iran. But they need a blessing from Washington first. So it seems like could be in the next 24 hours we get a resumption of hostilities. Iran and the U.S. are trying to hold it together. Iran says that we should stick to diplomacy through Pakistan and other mediators. It's unclear what the position in Washington is, but they're trying to salvage a ceasefire while all these shenanigans are going on. So I told you on Friday, this is going to end in a confrontation eventually. And I told you last week, I said it might not be in days, weeks, months, but we're coming back to war because neither side is willing to walk back, or I should say step down from their red line. And if that's the case, then the only way we can resolve the impasse is through a military confrontation. Both sides think they can win. One of us is wrong. There's only one way to find out. So like I said, if we have time, we'll get into that as well. But it should be a pretty good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the show. Check out our spring and summer collection at Fuentes.store. I'm not going to show you all the products. I don't even have all of them because I was wearing them all weekend, so I don't even have a lot of it here still. But you can check it out. Fuentes.store, we have all our brand new stuff, very high quality, screen printed, and it's pretty good stuff. People are loving it. If you want to support the show, subscribe at AmericaFirst.plus, $15 a month to get access to the entire archive, every episode of the show, every debate, collaboration, commentary stream, gaming stream, it's all there. MP3 format as well, MP3 downloads. Check it out. $100 a month club, you get to be in a group chat with me. For just $100 a month, you get to join a group chat with the GOAT. And I do bonus content in there every other day. I did a huge voice message this weekend when the Tucker article dropped. I talked all about Casey Push in Ohio. I talked about Tucker's interview. I talked about the event that was held this weekend. I talked, what is it even called? America First United? Like, guys, the ride never ends. Like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Honestly, I don't even know where to go. Like, there's not even anywhere to go. There's nothing to do. There's no one out there. So I talked about all of it. All the things that I don't have time to get to on the show, I do cover in the group chat. And so those were a few of the topics we went into. My beef with Casey Push. Rest in piss. You're going to get destroyed tomorrow. It's going to be fucking awesome. The event that was held this weekend. The backlash over my comments on Friday. I said immigration doesn't matter anymore. People lost their minds over that. And I went into a lot of detail on the Tucker interview as well. So check that out, AmericaFirst.plus. That's the link. Check it out over there. Okay, with that out of the way, we're going to dive in. Man, there's so much to talk about. In the first place, okay, before we even get to the interview, I do just want to talk about this event. So I don't even know what this is. Okay, that's the best part. I discovered last week that there's this convening, there's this meeting of the minds, a true think tank. There's this conference being held in Ohio this weekend. You only find out about it next week. It's called America First United, I think. And the only reason I find out about it is because people start posting the promo card with all the speakers, and it's Faith Merrill and Jake Shields and the usual suspects. I saw that, and then there's all this fighting about it on Twitter, and so-and-so got invited, and this one didn't get invited, and so people asked me about it on Friday, and I said, I don't even know what this is. Okay? I don't know who's behind it. I don't know who's running it. I have nothing to do with that, and I'm just not going to weigh in. Okay, I wish them the best. Well, they hold this event, and it's like a complete optical disaster. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. I know it's difficult to do an event. I've done many events in my life. I know they're extraordinarily difficult to pull off and to do right. There's a million things that go into it, so I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be overly critical. But it didn't go very well. And there were a lot of things about it that were ill-conceived. The speakers they invited, they're trying to do this thing where they bring together the right and the left, and Muslims and Christians, and I understand this impulse for an ecumenical movement like that, all united our antipathy towards Israel. It just never works in practice because people have real beliefs and ideologies, and these things clash on a deep level. So in some ways, it's just not going to work. Anyway, so they do this event. Everybody's clowning on it. Everybody's laughing at these people, and it just doesn't look good. Okay, it's not a good look. And sure enough, I get blamed for it. Sure enough, everybody is saying, oh, the Kuipers held the conference this weekend. The Kuipers, what part of how can you do we have to do the movement? Come on. It should have always just been about Nick Fuentes. I am the movement. What do you mean the Kuipers didn't event? There is no Kuiper event without me. I wasn't even there. I wasn't there. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't speak there. I wasn't even in the state. And everybody goes, the Kuipers held a convention, and it sucked. It's like you just can't win. The CNN Kuipers, these numbnuts, and the other guy are on CNN in the shirt of being fat slobs. Then, what was the other optical disaster in the past week? Oh, then it was the SPLC thing. You know, I'm not even doing the show. Then I'm in Rome getting my paycheck from David Axelrod in the Vatican. Now this. I don't do the show for the weekend, and they do an event, and I get blamed for it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what's interesting? And listen, this is just interesting. I'm just going to say this. So I heard that the event organizer said something to the effect of America First is bigger than Nick Fuentes. Someone said that this was said. I heard this was said somewhere. And listen, I'm just pointing something out. And I'm not trying to be shitty when I say this, although it's going to come across that way. You want America First without Nick Fuentes? Well, you got it. You saw what that looks like. I'll just say that much, okay? I don't know if that's true. I heard it was said. Somebody said it's a he said, she said thing. Somebody said that somebody else said on a call or something that, you know, it doesn't matter that a bunch of people that hated me were in attendance. And it doesn't matter that I wasn't there. They said because it's bigger than him. Well, I don't know if it's bigger without me. But certainly that is what it looks like now. I'll just say that much. And you can do with that information what you want, but that's the truth. You want America First about Nick Fuentes? Well, you got a little preview. You got a little taste of that. I don't care how big your Twitter account is. I don't care, how viral the posts are. That's what you got. So, good luck. It's time to recognize this is America First. There is no other America First. There is no other America First. There is no America First without this. This is the movement. It's time for a little recognition. You tried it. You tried it. You saw how that went. This is the movement. And you don't have to like that, and you don't even love that, but that's just the way it is. It's just true. I saw that this weekend, and I'm not gonna lie, I took a little bit of pleasure in seeing how it was received, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like I don't always get the credit necessarily, which I'm not always after. But I have worked through a lot of these problems, and I've been doing this for a long time, and we've made a lot of mistakes, and we've learned a lot of lessons. A lot of things have happened in these 10 years. And I talk about that in relation to the Trump movement and electoral politics and infiltration, entryism, hosting events, protests, like the rhetoric. We've worked through a lot of these things. We've refined a lot of these things over the years. And suffice to say, I'm one of the lone survivors. I've been one of the only people that's had real longevity, that's actually produced anything viable with energy, any kind of competence. And I've been saying it for the past 5 months. We got a lot of these people that got red pilled last year. A lot of people woke up to this idea, these facts, 9 months ago, 12 months ago, and suddenly they think that's enough. They think that's sufficient. We're going to take this information, we're going to take this vague notion that Jews are in control, and we're going to take that and just run with it, and we're just going to ask questions later. It's not going to go the way you think, And so, try it at your own peril. We have to be a little bit humble. We have to have the humility to recognize the vastness and complexity of the problem and take it seriously. And realize that no amount of haste, pure enthusiasm, or hatred, some kind of emotional gut reaction, that doesn't help us solve the problem. What helps us solve the problem is patience, prudence, humility, listening, studying, learning. Okay? So the things that help us approach an ambitious project like the one we're engaged in, which is try to take back the country. Okay? If we're ever going to do that, if that's even possible, we're going to need a little bit more of those qualities. Secure stuff. Exuberance is no substitute for careful planning, being methodical, being careful, being smart, all the having good instincts, these kinds of things. So anyway, just a little bit of this. And most people don't have to learn the hard way. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they have to go out and embarrass themselves, and also me, incidentally. That's how it goes sometimes. So anyway, so that you just want to throw that out there. Yeah, I have nothing to do with that. That's actually what it looks like when you don't have me. That's when it's the whole bench and not me. There you go. But anyway, we are going to move on. We're going to get into the news here. We're going to talk all about this Tucker Carlson interview with the New York Times. And I just want to say at the very beginning, this is a really important interview to talk about. I just want to impress upon you the significance of this. Obviously, Tucker has emerged as one of the most important influential voices. But it's not just his influence, it is the network that he is involved in. We've talked about this at length. Tucker Carlson is obviously involved in a clique. He is involved in a clique which is vying for power. He is not a journalist. He is not a commentator. That's not what he is. You know what Tucker Carlson was doing throughout 2024? He was in the Arabian Peninsula meeting with the heads of state and heads of government of all the Gulf Cooperation Council nations. Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar. Instead of journalist does. You know, a lot of journalists from the Huffington Post, independent journalists on YouTube and Spotify that are meeting with the Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates, that are meeting with the Crown Prince of Qatar, of Saudi Arabia? I don't think so. Nobody knows what he is. He is clearly some kind of intelligence-aligned operative. He is clearly involved deeply with his best friend Peter Thiel, with J.D. Vance, another good friend of his, with Joe Kent, a CIA officer. He is in bed with people in the intelligence community and people in his government and exerts influence on it. And that is why there is so much consternation among the pro-Israel crowd about his rise, about his apparent shift in what he talks about and how he talks about it, specifically as it pertains to Israel. And so what he says in this interview, it's of importance. It really matters, because this is the discourse, this is the conversation inside the American right wing, and this is going to determine the future of where the party goes after Trump leaves office. J.D. Vance is the vice president, heir apparent. There's going to be an attempt to consolidate support around him, and that's going to be an awful lot of power to dictate the future of the GOP in the wake of the sunsetting of Trump's political career. It's a big deal. And Tucker is a spokesman for this. He's a prophet for this. That's what matters, what he's thinking and saying. So anyway, that's just a little bit on the significance of it. I want to get into the interview. And in the first place, I want to talk a little bit about what he said about me, because he did address me directly. And it's sort of funny. There were a few major topics in the interview. They talk about the war in Iran, the Trump administration, J.D. Vance. They talk about what's happening in the country. But a significant chunk of the interview was really all about me. My interview with Tucker back in October of 2025. What's interesting is that Tucker did not want to talk about that at all. Didn't want to talk about me. He almost seemed insulted that he had to. The interviewer kept bringing me up, asking me about me, and he seemed not happy about it. So we're going to work through this. We'll start with what was said about me in my interview. And like I said, this is not completely self-indulgent. We're going to tie it all together at the end. This is very significant. This is a dialectical situation. Okay, this is the dialectic in the populist, nationalist, post-Trump GOP. It really matters a lot. So we'll start with some of his comments about me. I did clip them so they're just a little bit shorter here. And we're just going to read through it and then I'll discuss it. So the interviewer says, how do you see Fuentes in terms of the future of the right? Now pay close attention. This is Tucker's answer. What does he think about the Kuiper movement and the future of the right? This is a quote. He says, most of the debate about race, ethnicity, religion, and to some extent immigration are less resonant long-term than debates about economics. I think the main frustration among young people is not just that the composition of the country is changing too fast, but the main concerns are about the lack of economic opportunity for young people. Older people do not acknowledge that, and so I think most future conversations politically will be about economics. It's a really interesting statement, isn't it? Because obviously my show, if I were to say what the big issues of my show are, I would lay them out very clearly. I would say one is the transition of America from a white nation to a non-white nation. This is called the fourth demographic transition, fourth or fifth demographic transition. It's global. And that is that because of communication, transportation technology, because of collapse of birth rates in the first world, rise of birth rates in the third world, you have a massive migration of non-white people, or peasant, illiterate, non-white people from the global south to the global north. And we're talking about Hispanics and Asians moving north into the United States. We're talking about Africans and Middle Easterners moving north across the Mediterranean to Europe. So I would say that's one of my big issues, and it is an issue of race, ethnicity, and religion. It's changing, like he said, using his terminology, It is the composition of the country that is changing and changing too quickly. It is the absolute total change, but it's also the rate of change. This is the central issue of our time. That America and Europe was for thousands of years European, white. Whether it's the Germanic tribes, whether it's the Romans, the Greeks, this is a distinct civilization with a distinct race, a distinct culture, religion, all those things. And now it's going to be something else. It's a lot of Africans, it's a lot of Muslims, it's a lot of Arabs, Indians, Pakistanis. It will be something else. Something is lost. The civilization which the race which produced Homer and Cervantes and Shakespeare and Dante is dying. It's being killed and replaced with the Igbo, with the Pashtun, with Bengalis. It's different, and the same is happening in America. If America is a satellite or an offshoot of Europe, the same thing is happening here. The continuity is being broken. Okay, that's number one. Number two, and this is related, is that sort of around the same time that America and Europe have been invaded by non-white people, there has also been another replacement, which is that our old elites, our old power structure, which was once a Catholic monarchy, and then became Protestant monarchies, and then became republics by white people, now are being run by Jewish moneyed interests. And so at the time of the French Revolution, you had two democracies in the whole world, and the rest of Europe and the other white societies, it was kings and queens, all Christian. You know? Then after World War I, you had all these republics. It was all white people voting and having a citizenry and a parliament and a legislature and all these things.
Okay, so you're in serious trouble, and you need my
system.
help.
It's all incomprehensible, complex. There's this syncretism, there's this syncing up of the productive capabilities, productive powers, money powers, military powers, and bureaucracy. It's now something else, and now we have a Jewish leadership, which is clearly accelerating a lot of these other changes. Social, cultural, political, demographic changes. We have a Jewish elite. That's why everything is pro-Israel. That's why they say the reason Germany exists is to apologize for the Holocaust. It's why in America you can't have a visa if you criticize Israel. It goes on and on like this. And so, like, these are the two issues. These are identity issues. My show is about the clash of civilizations, that the Western white world is being impacted by the non-white demographic replacement and the ascendance of Jewish civilization inside of America, the ascendance of Jewish nationalism. Zionism is a part of that, which now apparently steers America, and America steers the world empire. So, like, these are my issues. Tucker says, in response to the question, what do you think about Nick Fuentes and his impact on the future of the right? And what she means is my ideas. When she says white supremacy, racism, sexism, Christian nationalism, anti-Semitism, it's these issues. It's that whites are going to think of themselves as whites, Christians thinking of themselves as Christians, taking their own side, fighting for a future that resembles the past, fighting for our progeny so they resemble our ancestors, okay, fighting for our sacred traditions, our holidays, fighting for a place where we feel like we belong, fighting for our home. And Tucker says, well, in response to your question about Nick Fuentes and how he's going to impact the right wing, he says, well, I think all those issues are not resonant, not salient. They go with race, ethnicity, and religion. He says, even to an extent, immigration doesn't matter as much as economics. He says the main frustration among young people is not that the composition of the country, the demographics are changing, but the main concern is the lack of economic opportunity for young people. Older people don't acknowledge that. I think most future conversations politically are about economics, and he's doing something else here too, because obviously my audience is a young audience. It's a generational phenomenon as well. I don't have much appeal among boomers It's my fans are all extremely online, very engaged, bright, young people. And so that's the phenomenon. And Tucker says, why does Nick Fuentes and his ideas have cachet among young people? It's because of the lack of economic opportunity for them. And why are we blindsided by Nick Fuentes? Because the older people don't know about the economic problems the young people face. So what's he doing here? Well, he's effectively deflecting and dismissing everything. Here are the Groypers and the young people saying, women need to shut the fuck up, blacks need to be in prison, Jews are running the country, these are the problems. Here I am saying, look, women don't shut up, feminism is ruining everything, immigration is ruining everything, black people commit all the crime, Jews are running the show, and that's why this way it is. And Tucker is saying, well, they're just mad because they don't have jobs. Yeah. And if you're old and you don't understand what they're saying, it's because you don't realize that they don't have jobs. And that's the real reason they're mad. That's the main issue. All that other stuff is just a way they're expressing it. It's just a phase. They're not really mad that they're becoming a minority. Yeah, we're not really mad about diversity and black crime and the rest of it. No, we're mad because we don't have jobs and we're just going through a phase, says Tucker. She comes back. The interviewer, she says, do you see that as Fuentes' power waning? Tucker responds, for sure. I don't know about Fuentes in particular, but he has been caricatured as a race guy. He was mad about the Jews or black people or whatever. But I'm just telling you, I think the future, the energy, not just on the right, but I think right and left agree on this, under 30, is the young people have been shafted by older people, particularly by the baby boomers. And I hear young people talk I'm mad about the Jews. I hear people say things like, only baby boomers would have a second home in Isle of Palms, South Carolina, but not help their kids buy homes. Really? That's what you're hearing? Wait a second. Wait. Time out. Back it up. Rewind the tape. Tucker seriously said, and we're reading this from a script, Tucker said, I hear young people talk a lot about the Jews. So young people are not saying that at all. Tucker says, I hear those young people say things like, only baby boomers would have a second home in Isle of Palms, South Carolina, and not help their kids buy homes. Really? So if I go on Instagram today, if I go and create an Instagram account and I load up Reels and I start liking right-wing content, I'm going to see a lot of Instagram Reels about Isle of Palms, South Carolina, and I'm not going to see any content about Jews? You're telling me if I go on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, or I go to a college campus and a Young Republican meeting, if I talk to a young person, you go to your boomer relatives, talk to their nephews, grandchildren, and you say, what are you thinking about? They're not going to say Jews. They're going to say boomers with their real estate. Does anybody believe that? Does anybody even believe that you believe that? Do you believe that? Do people really believe you believe that? You don't even believe that. Are you kidding me? No, everybody is talking about the Jews. Everybody is talking about Israel. Everybody is talking about race. The right and the left, both. He says the right and the left are talking about housing. Yeah, sure. Maybe Ezra Klein is talking about housing. Everybody else is talking about Israel. Everybody else is talking about Gaza, Iran. Everybody else is talking about how odious Mark Levin and Laura Loomer are. They're talking about the ADL.
Motherfucker.
Talking about APAC. No, they're not all talking about baby boomers in the Isle of Palms. I don't even know where that is. Okay? He goes on. So that's just insane. That's just totally out of touch and a lie. That's just a lie. Why are you lying? Why are you gaslighting us? When I hear young people, I don't hear them talk about Jews or Israel at all. Okay, so what, have you been in a coma for the past 3 years? Were you in Charlie Kirk in the astral realm? Were you with Clavicular when he got choked out and had a seizure? Were you in another dimension? Where have you been? That's all people have been talking about for the last 3 years. The young people are not talking about we're mad at the Jews. They're talking about baby boomers and real estate. Yeah, okay, maybe an American moment, bro. Maybe an American moment. Maybe at America First Policy Institute. Maybe at Bull Moose Club or whatever faggoty thing John Doyle put together this year. Everywhere else, it's the opposite. Anyway, he goes on. He says, the future that I imagine is not a future in which we're yelling at each other about race. It's a future in which people are legitimately revolutionary, maybe even violent, on the basis of thwarted economic opportunity. I think the real issues are not about Fuentes or even about race. Immigration has a direct effect on economics. And so the overwhelming majority of newly created jobs in the past 5 years have gone to the foreign-born. That's not an attack on the foreign-born, naturally. To say that's not really the job of the U.S. government to provide economic opportunity to the world. So Tucker is telling us it's not about the Jews, it's not about immigration or race, it's about economics. It's about the lack of jobs. No one's talking about Jews, everyone's talking about real estate. And in the future, no one's going to talk about race, everyone's going to be talking about economic opportunity. Really? And you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like J.D. Vance's mentor, David Frum, wrote an article in The Atlantic and said that J.D. Vance was being groomed in the early 2010s to steer the GOP away from xenophobia and racism and white identity and into talking about the white working class and how they were screwed over and don't have economic opportunity and they need to stop blaming immigrants and they need to just pull themselves up by their bootstraps. In other words, it sounds like hillbilly elegy. What Tucker just said, don't blame immigrants for the lack of economic opportunity, don't lean into race and identity, don't lean into culture war, that sounds like the thesis of hillbilly elegy, which J.D. Vance was basically given a sinecure at Peter Thiel's venture capital firm so that he could go and promote that to the elites on CNN and at the Aspen Institute and his fellowship at American Enterprise Institute. It sounds like David Frum's idea of J.D. Vance's political trajectory, where Frum said that Vance would deliver the GOP from the nativist base impulses of the Republican electorate and deliver them towards something more productive, something where we talk about the climate and America has a policeman's role in the world and all these other kinds of things. It sounds exactly like that. It's also just not even true. None of that is true. You're telling me that the only thing that is going on is there's a lack of economic opportunity and we happen to blame the immigrants? That's not what is happening at all. Dallas is ground zero for the Indian invasion of America. It's all H-1Bs, it's all these Indians, and anyone who lives there will tell you it is ruining their quality of life. Anyone will tell you. All these new developments, all the new construction, it's all being bought up by rich Indians, and they fucking ruin everything. And the people in LA and Houston will tell you the same thing about Hispanics. When you go to Houston, why is it dangerous now? Venezuelan gangs, immigrants. LA is majority minority. It's like 80% non-white, and it's a dump. Okay? You go to Chicago, you go to New York. Is the problem a lack of economic opportunity? Or is that the black people have made public transportation and Grand Park and Millennium Park uninhabitable? They're no-go zones. McDonald's doesn't want to be in Fulton Market anymore. They don't want to be in West Loop anymore because they can't get their vice presidents to move here because nobody wants to be in Chicago because it's too dangerous because of the black people. And they're not even immigrants. They don't even have anything to do with the job market. So, no, that's not true. The changing composition of the country is everything. And here's how you know that's the case. I think absolutely anybody, especially anybody that watches my show, would prefer that we undergo another Great Recession or Great Depression if we could be in a white country. Everybody, anybody that watches my show would certainly prefer that we undergo a Great Depression or a Great Recession if it meant that we could have some semblance of a white country again. Everybody knows that's true. So no, it's not about economic opportunity. We would all prefer to have a smaller house and maybe a smaller TV and a smaller backyard and a smaller car. And maybe we eat out less than we did before, and by that I mean restaurants. And I don't mean box. Like Tucker, another favorite of Tucker's. Disgusting. Mind out of the gutter. We would all prefer to have less if it meant we could have more white neighbors. We would all prefer to have less stuff if we could have more society, more coherence, more of a social fabric. And that comes from familiarity. That's where the word family comes from. It's familial. It's familiar. We look like each other. We talk like each other. We like each other. So none of that is... First of all, this bears a striking resemblance to all the rhetoric that has come out of the Tealverse, where they're talking about a colorblind meritocracy. Yeah, fuck that. Remember when they were pushing a colorblind meritocracy? We're going to have like a non-racist capitalist country? Yeah, Indians welcome. Indians and Vietnamese and Malays welcome. Mexicans welcome. As long as we have a colorblind meritocracy. Remember they called it multiracial working class populism? Yeah, workers in the world unite. Black, brown, white. If you're sick of the Democrats' tax and spend agenda, Steve Bannon and us are and Trump are gonna cut the capital gains or increase the capital gains tax and pay for more welfare or something like that. It sounds like all this garbage that has come out of Joe Kent, J.D. Vance, the Tealverse, all these people, Tucker Carlson's show on Fox for years, and this is what they consistently do. They downplay race, they downplay religion, they downplay all of that, and they say it's all just about economics. Everything else is a distraction, that's not real, that's the SPLC, that's the feds. You're a Fed if you talk about race. You're a left-wing Klan if you talk about race. No one really wants that, that's not even real. What did he say about replacement migration? He said it's a voting rights issue. Why is it a problem that America will be minority white? Because it's voting. It's all about voting. All these immigrants are going to be able to vote, and like they don't care about America as much as heritage America. You know, they're always trying to like workshop some convoluted way where we're against immigration, but not because it's about race. It's about everything else. Economics, voting. It's about the legality of it, some other thing. Here's where it gets good, though. So then they talk about J.D. Vance, and you're going to see how these things come together. So then it gets a little bit weird. Interviewer starts asking Tucker about J.D. Vance, and just so you know, Tucker and J.D. Vance are in bed together, okay, and they have been. Tucker Carlson has known Peter Thiel for 35 years. Tucker says that he never, this is inside information, Tucker says that he never makes a big life decision without first talking to Peter Thiel. I've heard that firsthand. He never makes a big life decision without calling Peter Thiel. He says Peter Thiel's really misunderstood. He's actually one of the most brilliant people around. He's known Peter Thiel since 1992. Tucker and Thiel are like this. So are Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance. As you know, Peter Thiel got J.D. Vance's first job in Silicon Valley. Then Thiel got Vance's first job in venture capital. Then Thiel hired Vance at his venture capital firm. Then Thiel funded J.D. Vance's venture capital firm. Then Peter Thiel gave J.D. Vance $15 million to run for Senate, and Thiel got Trump to endorse him, even though J.D. Vance was a never-Trumper. So Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance are like this, and Tucker and Peter Thiel are like this. And when J.D. Vance was running for Senate in Ohio, Tucker had him on his show 45 times to promote him. J.D. Vance founded a venture capital firm called 1789 Capital, an offshoot of that. He founded Rockbridge Network, an offshoot of Rockbridge called 1789 Capital, gave Tucker Carlson $10-15 million in seed money to found the Tucker Carlson Network. Tucker Carlson's son Buckley works in J.D. Vance's press office. Okay, so these people are all deeply connected with each other, and there's something going on there. Just so you understand. So this New York Times intrepid reporter, she asked Vance about some of this, and it gets very bizarre very quickly. See if you can understand why. So the interviewer says, are you still close to Vance considering your rupture with the president? Tucker says, I will always love J.D. Vance as a man. I think, and I'm making this judgment on the basis of his public statements over many years, I think he's in a tough spot. He's on the record repeatedly saying this is exactly the thing this administration would avoid doing, and now they've done it. The interviewer says, when was the last time you spoke to the vice president? Tucker says, oh, I don't know. But I wouldn't want to add to his problems at all. I would just say what's obvious, which is that I'm hardly an advisor to this administration. And I think it's also clear that Donald Trump makes these decisions. It's like a weird political answer. When's the last time you talked to Vance? I don't know. I don't want to hurt him. I'm not an advisor at all. Trump is in control. She presses him. You really don't know the last time you spoke to Vice President J.D. Vance? Weeks, months, days? Tucker says, I don't know. I mean, I would never characterize that. Why not? I don't want to cause him more problems. I would just say I'm not advising. No one's seeking my counsel. I'm not trying to influence anything. I gave it my best shot. It didn't work. When's the last time you talked to him? I don't know, but I'm an advisor. Really? You don't know? Days, weeks, months? I have no idea. I would never do that. I'm just an advisor. I'm not counsel. I'm not influencing anything. Okay. Interviewer comes back. However, he has felt privately, publicly, Vance has been a loyal soldier, even going so far as to head the recent negotiations with the Iranians. And we've seen, and you've commented how unpopular the war is among the American people. Do you think the role that he is playing now will hurt his political prospects? Tucker, there are people in the White House who want to hurt J.D. Vance and have wanted that since the very first day. They're bitter. They wanted Marco Rubio to be the choice as vice president. And so J.D. has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll confirm it, nonstop treachery from people on the neocon side. Who are these people, says the interviewer. Tucker says, people around Marco Rubio. Certainly he's the choice of the donor class. The donor class is avowedly neoconservative. That's why they give money for outcomes like the ones we're watching, and they have been totally against Vance from the very beginning and have been working to undermine him. What do you mean specifically? She says, because it was interesting in those conversations with Susie Wiles, for example, where she was very much praising Rubio and had less complimentary things to say about Vance. Is that to whom you're referring? Tucker replies, I don't know is the real answer. I don't know. You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering. Tucker replies, well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure, and I know they were mad about J.D. getting that job. Who is they, she says. Well, Mary Matelson, for example, Rupert Murdoch, they were very much vested in using Trump for what we're seeing now. Well, within the White House, she asks. He says, I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there, so if you don't work there, you can't say what you think you know, but it's really hard to do.
Fuck.
Okay. So we don't know when you talk to Vance last. You wouldn't even characterize that. You don't know who's out to get him, but you're sure everybody's out to get him. You're not going to name him. Finally, she asks, it was just published that your son Buckley, who worked for the VP, left his job. Did your rift with Trump have anything to do with that and make it hard for him to stay with the administration? Tucker replies, no, zero. He was not forced out of the role at all. Let me just say, in a normal world, in a decent world, my son or my son's job would have no relevance at all to me. Really? Why wouldn't it? You are an advisor to J.D. Vance. You're an advisor to Trump. Trump is at war with Iran. That's spoiling Vance's prospects. You support Vance's prospects for president. Your son works for Vance. In a decent world, no one would fucking talk about that? Are you insane? If I had a son and my son were working for Trump, no one would talk about that? I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. Interviewer comes back. Why did your son leave then if he wasn't forced out? Tucker says, I don't know. I don't know. You can ask him. He was there for over a year. The White House is an intense place to work. I don't want to talk about my son. He's got nothing to do with this. And that's kind of the point. We need to defend the core beliefs of our civilization, which, by the way, are attractive to the entire world. People move here not just for our robust economy, but because they want to be judged on the basis of what they did, not what their parents did. That's the whole point. That's the and we reject it. I gave this lecture to Nick Fuentes. I gave this lecture to Mike Huckabee. The lecture never changes because the idea is the core idea of our civilization. The core idea of our civilization is that we can't ask why your son was fired from J.D. Vance's office. That's the core of our civilization. That's blood guilt. That's the essence of soteriology. That's the essence of our religion. Are you kidding? Now that's a little bit too crazy, even for me. That's a little bit too insulting. When's the last time you talked to Vance? I don't know. Really? I couldn't even guess. I don't even keep track. Everybody's out to get Vance. Really? Like who? I don't know. I don't work there. Why did your son get fired? I don't know. Ask him. You shouldn't ask me about that. That's the core of our civilization. People want to move to America because we're judged on what we did, on our meritocracy, not our parents, not blood guilt. Okay, what? That doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I thought the blood guilt speech was about Gaza, which is the idea that Israel shouldn't kill children because their parents, voted for Hamas or something. I thought that is what that was about. But then it became about something else. Then, when people started to criticize Israel and say, hey, wait a second, I think there's something going on with Jews, then Tucker brought that out again and said, that's also blood guilt. Because if you believe that Jewishness has something to do with Israel, then you're blaming all Jews for the actions of some Jews, and that's a form of blood guilt. And that's wrong, too. You following this? Now, if you say to Tucker Carlson, hey, so about your son working for the vice president, what's going on there? Oh, now that's blood guilt too. So it started with Israel killing children in Gaza is wrong because they don't inherit the sins of their parents that voted for Hamas. Then it became we can't talk about the Jewish dimension to our Israel problem because to say that it has something to do with the Jewish religion or Jewish ethnicity would be anti-Semitism. That's a form of blood guilt. Now, if you say Tucker's son works for Vance, Tucker got him that job, it tethers Tucker to Vance because of Tucker's friendship with Vance. Now that's blood. Now we can't ask about that. Hey, what's the deal with your son working for Vance? Blood guilt, blood guilt. Our civilization is founded on the idea that my son can work for whatever vice president he wants, and no one can ask me about it. This civilization is founded on the idea that any millionaire CIA agent's son can work for any vice president, and the New York Times cannot ask about it. That's not decent. Really? Fuck you. Let's just drop the act. Let's cut the shit. Okay? Your daddy ran Voice of America. Your daddy, Silver Spoon Boy, okay? Your daddy ran Voice of America for the CIA. He ran U.S. propaganda for the CIA. He was a Reagan appointee. You live down the street from the officer that overthrew Mossadegh in the CIA in Iran in the 50s, okay? You have worked your entire career for Rupert Murdoch. For Rupert Murdoch. The same person you're saying is out to get J.D. Vance. Your whole career, you've been in bed with Peter Thiel, who's apparently been advising you. He's a CIA contractor with Palantir since 9/11. And your son works for J.D. Vance, who is a Manchurian candidate for Peter Thiel, the CIA. We're going to get a speech about blood guilt. We're going to get a speech about how we should all just be nice to everybody. Don't talk about my daddy who's in the CIA. Don't talk about it. That's attacking my family. And don't talk about my son who works for J.D. Vance. That's blood guilt. It's getting a little stale. You know, it's getting a little old, and it's pressing. You're pushing the bounds of credulity on that one. I don't believe you. Nobody believes you. None of that makes any sense. You don't know when the last time you talked to the vice president was. You don't know who's out to get him. You don't know why your son was fired from his office. I don't believe you. You're lying. You got him that job. It's a sinecure. You're the most famous influencer conservative in America. Your son worked for Jim Banks, who's a fucking spook, and now he works for J.D. Vance. And you want us to believe that you had nothing to do with it? And you still don't? And you don't even know what's going on. Okay. You know what he told me at the dinner? At the dinner, I asked him about that. You know what he told me? He said, my son can work anywhere he wants. I had nothing to do with that. He said, my son is your age. He's a young man. He wanted to work in politics, so he got that job. I had nothing to do with that. I don't. Oh, really? Oh, really? Anybody? Now, that's just insulting, because here's the difference. You want to talk about the lack of economic opportunity for young people? I know a long line of young white men that are better looking than your son, smarter than your son, more qualified than your son, went to better schools than your son, and they can't get an interview. You want to know why? Because their dad isn't Tucker Carlson. They can't get an interview, let alone they're going to be in Jim Banks' office and every intern is going to be jacking them off because it's Buckley Carlson. And they certainly don't get to work in the vice president's office with J.D. Vance. And then you want to deign to tell us about the revolutionary violence because of how the elites don't understand the economic plight of young men, while you simultaneously tell us immigration's not real, race isn't real, Jews aren't real. No one's talking about Jews, it's about the baby boomers. Really, what about your 2 houses? What about your $10 million real estate portfolio? In a crap, we can't ask about that either. Is that also blood guilt? Some student asked him at Turning Point USA last year, they said, I read you have a $50 million net worth. Tucker says, fuck you, don't believe everything you read on the internet. Is that blood guilt? We also can't talk about your net worth either? Mr. Populist? We can't talk about your CIA dad's son. We can't talk about we can't talk about your CIA dad. We can't talk about your Nepo baby son. We can't talk about your $50 million net worth. We can't talk about why you never criticized Israel until 2 years ago. What can we talk about, Tucker? What can and should we talk about? Demon attacks? UFOs? Astral projection? Time travel? For fuck's sake already. Does nobody see through this? Does nobody else see through the ruse? Are you kidding me? That's just insulting. What happened to your son working for the vice president who is caught in the middle between you and Trump in this war that you obviously hate, and Trump is attacking you? Yeah, how dare you ask me about my son? In a decent world, if we remembered what our civilization was based on, you wouldn't even think to ask me that. Oh, stop. Just stop with that already, with that routine. I'm sick of it. Do the laugh again. This is the last part. We're going to bring it all together here. So then he talks a little bit more about me. It's a little more complicated than that, but whatever. Who cares? It's also just true. Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should have an Indian first. Yeah. This was some of Tucker's response. He says, quote, race is thrown up as a distraction so often, and as in this case, distract from what actually matters. Fuentes himself is a distraction from the conversations that matter, because power is displayed through the structure of the economic system globally and per country and in the use of force. And so Washington's response, Wall Street's response, is to be like, let's have a race war, and you guys can argue over blacks and white. Or that JD is married to an Indian woman. So Fuentes is incredibly useful for people with actual power to divert the conversation to something that is irrelevant and divisive because it's a divide and conquer strategy. This economic system is hurting young people. And so Fuentes shows up, and everyone wants to talk about Fuentes because it's really safe. No one wants to talk about why are the capital gains taxes half of those of tax on regular income. You will never have that debate. Have you ever asked a question about that? No. No one ever asked that, and I think nothing's more important domestically than that. That's my opinion. Really? No one ever talked about taxes? Really? No one ever talked about the rich paying their fair share? No one ever talked about a wealth tax? No one ever talked about a VAT tax? No one ever talked about eating the rich? Raising taxes on the rich? Eisenhower's 90% marginal? Really? No one ever talked about that. No one ever talked about wealth inequality. No one ever talked about income inequality. No one ever talked about the carried interest provision. Nobody ever. Are you kidding me? No one ever talked about millionaires and billionaires until Tucker came along. And the real problem is that I'm distracting from that by talking about Jewish oligarchy and white genocide. That's the easy conversation that everybody wants to have. Everybody wants to talk about our Jewish oligarchy. Everybody wants to talk about white genocide. Everybody wants to have this very comfortable conversation about how whites are being outnumbered by non-whites everywhere and all the problems that come from that. Everybody wants to talk about the conspicuously Jewish nature of our entire system and their perverse system that they've created to influence our country. Those are the easy distractions that everyone wants to shine a light on. The stuff that nobody wants to talk about, the hard, difficult conversations, are why the rich will not pay their fair share. Why will the millionaires and billionaires now pay more in tax? Are you aware that Amazon paid no taxes 1 year? And how about all these poor workers? Will someone please think of cutting the taxes on the workers? That's Tucker's opinion. Bang. And that's his opinion. Boom. Bang. Period. And take that to the bank. Whoa, man. Whoa. The studio is shaking. Goodness. Wow, you just rocked my world. He goes on. He says, I wish I had done the Fuentes interview. Well, that's really hurtful things. Now, what are you, just trying to hurt my feelings? If you told me I'm a distraction, I'm a useful idiot for the elites so that they won't have to talk about Occupy Wall Street, you want to say I'm the race guy caricatured for talking about blacks and Jews, that's fine. When you say you wish you never interviewed me, now I feel like you're just trying to hurt my feelings. Now I feel like you're just trying to antagonize me. I wish I never did the interview. Ouch. Okay. Well, he goes on. He says it was totally not worth it. It was kind of interesting, I guess, but I added to the distraction. What I really wanted to talk about was where we were going in this war with Iran. And I spent like a month getting calls from people being like, you're a Nazi. And I wish I hadn't done that. It didn't imperil my soul. I've interviewed far worse people, like Mike Huckabee. Far worse person than Fuentes hurt many more people than the same with Ted Cruz. So I don't think it affected me. I interviewed people I disagree with all the time, and often I'm polite to them, including war criminals. So this is your Tucker interview. And this paints a picture for you of what is happening in the American right. Okay, you're clearly seeing the contours here, which is that Tucker is in the pocket with J.D. Vance. They're in somebody's pocket. They're a part of a clique. They're a part of something. Tucker says, I love J.D. Vance. He's a good man. I just don't want to hurt him. I don't even remember the last time we talked. Dude, his son worked for him. Clearly they're in bed together. And Tucker hates me. Tucker says, I'm not that popular. I have no power. Everything I say is a distraction. It's misdirected energy. Race and religion don't matter. I have no impact on the conversation. It's all about economics. He says I'm a fag. All these other disparaging things about me. Simultaneously propping up Vance, simultaneously dismissing me. What you on to that also this ideological divide, where Tucker says the real issue is the economic system. Those are the real issues. And they're only expressed or misdirected towards race, religion. What's really happening in the real future and the real wave is the discontent over the lack of economic opportunity. Suffice to say, Vance is the remedy. Vance is going to give us our colorblind meritocracy where the young people can buy houses and get jobs, and that the other stuff doesn't matter. And obviously, the inverse of this is that I am the problem. I am hurting Vance. I am not a fan of Vance. I'm taking support from Vance, and I'm taking support from Vance in the service of something that is either the agenda of the elites, and this is meant to distract from the fact that the masses don't support their economic and national security agenda, or I'm just a misguided young person who just has it wrong, and what I really am about is that the housing market is unaffordable and there's no jobs, and I just have the wrong idea. I'm leading everybody astray. And you can see very clearly that this is where they want to take it. They want Vance to be in the White House, and they don't want to do anything about immigration. They don't want to do anything about Israel. They don't want to do anything about any of these things. Do you think when J.D. Vance gets elected that they're going to address H-1Bs? Why would they? All the tech people that support Vance need H-1Bs. Never going to happen. You think when Vance gets elected, they're going to build the border wall? They're not building it now. You think he's going to keep us out of Iran? They can't keep us out of Iran right now. Tucker says the neocons don't want Vance to be the president. Really? The same neocons that were 100% behind his ticket with Trump? The neocons that he spoke to at the Quincy Institute when he put an pro-Israel spin on America First? It's just ridiculous. His chief of staff, Jacob Reeses, who is a Jewish Zionist, what are you talking about? This is where they're trying to take it, and people like Tucker and Thiel and Vance and Musk and all these people that are part of this thing, whatever it is, they see me as a massive inconvenience. I am a massive thorn in their side because I'm the only one that is telling the truth about this stuff. I'm out here doing this dumbass show telling people, yeah, it's about the Jews. It is a Jewish problem. It is a Jewish oligarchy. It's not the secular government of Israel's policies under Netanyahu. No, we have a Jewish oligarchy. And yes, it is about race. It's not a lack of economic opportunity. We're a minority in our own country, and it's miserable. You understand. If you have kids in a public school, if you live in a working or middle-class neighborhood, if you live in and around a major metro area, if you have a job anywhere, if you ever have to deal with customer service, if you've ever driven on an interstate, on a highway, you know, yes, the problem is an identity problem. It's a demographic problem. No, it's not just the jobs. The job market happens to be bad. But that is not our antipathy towards immigration and demographic change. It's not a transmutation of that problem. That's a byproduct of it. That's just a negative externality of the real problem, which is the immigration. And so I think that Tucker brought me on. I don't even know why, but it seems like it was to neutralize me. Tucker and Vance are in league. It's very clear last year that I was gathering steam and I was becoming more popular, and I might be a problem for Vance in 28. I might even be a problem for Tucker. And so I'm sure they brought me in to try to neutralize me so that I would not be an adversary. And when it became clear that I didn't stand down, when it became clear that I stuck to my guns, then they threw me right back under the bus, and it turned into, oh, actually, it was an intervention. It wasn't an interview, it was an intervention. And Tucker now says I brought him on the show so that he could run his mouth and expose himself, and I brought him on the show to confront him over his anti-Semitism, and I gave him the speech about blood guilt, and he just won't listen, and so he's still a problem. And that's very clearly what is going on. And I would just say about all of it, I'm not in this so that we can elect a CIA agent. I don't trust Vance. I don't trust Tucker. These people are liars. Tucker is a liar. Vance is a liar. Nobody even knows what they actually believe. Tucker says in the same interview, he said, I never criticized Israel in my entire career until 2 years ago. We don't even know who you are. We have no idea who you really are, what you really believe, who you really work for. I don't even know what the fuck you are. I don't know who Vance is. Who is J.D. Vance? 10 years ago, he voted for Evan McMullin, a CIA agent. 15 years ago, he was mentored by David Frum, a neocon speechwriter for George W. Bush. 10 years ago, he wrote an article dedicated to Barack Obama about how smart he was, and white people hate him because they're jealous that he's smarter than they are. He wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy about how he married an Indian immigrant as a fuck you to his loser family that couldn't get out of their own way. Hillbilly Elegy is about how white people are blaming everybody else for their problems. They need to get to work and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Stop blaming international trade and mass migration. Now J.D. Vance is going to be the standard bearer of America First. Now he's going to be the leader of the movement, and the Groypers are going to fall in line behind him. Tucker's dad ran Voice of America for the CIA. Tucker, in his gap year, is in Nicaragua fighting with the Contras after the Iran-Contras affair. We're not supposed to talk about that. That's attacking his family. You want to talk about elites being out of touch, youth unemployment? You tell us you don't know why your Nepo baby son works for Vance? I mean, are you kidding me? We don't even know who these people are. They are liars. They insult our intelligence daily. And it works because most people are pretty dumb. But I don't trust them. I don't trust Tucker. I don't trust Vance. I don't trust Peter Thiel. These people are weird. These people are not like me. I am from Chicago. Who's this kid from Chicago? Yeah, I'm from Chicago. Okay, my grandparents were on Taylor Street. My dad grew up on the West Side. My mom grew up in Melrose Park. I'm a real American. I don't know who you are. I didn't take a gap year in Nicaragua with the Contras. I didn't accompany my dad to fucking Pakistan. Okay? I didn't work for the Weekly Standard. I didn't work for Fox News for 20 years before I woke up and realized there's something going on with Israel one day. I don't have any contracts with the CIA. I'm not obsessed with the Antichrist like these other people. Okay? I don't know what any of that is about. These people are not like me. These people are not like me. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're about. And by the way, I never got a contract. I never got a jersey. These people want me and the Groypers to be on the team. Why won't all of you just join up with Vance? Don't you realize blah, blah, blah? Hey, listen, pal. I'm not being paid. I never signed a contract. I'm not wearing a fucking jersey. You want to let me in on the master plan? People all the time telling me, Vance is actually great. You just got to give him a chance. Well, you know what? If there's some master plan, nobody told me. I didn't get invited to Skull Island and get the blueprint. I didn't get the schematics on how Vance is going to deliver everybody. I didn't get let in on this story. So they're always telling me, Vance is our guy. You just got to trust it. You got to get behind him. You're really becoming a problem for us. Well, I'm not wearing a jersey, and none of these people are ever nice to me, and they never help me, and I'm not a part of that. So why do you think I'm on the team? What do I owe you? So anyway, it's getting really, really weird. And I will tell you this much. I trust me. I trust you. I only trust people younger than me because they're not feds. And I will say this. Fuck everybody in this administration. Trump, Vance, Rubio, Hegseth. I don't want one of them. Fuck anybody that worked for Fox News ever. Oh, he hasn't worked for Fox News in 3 years. Fuck him. You worked for Rupert Murdoch for 10 years. Rupert Murdoch was paying you $20 million a year for 10 years. Fuck you. I don't trust you. Get out of my head. Oh, you're against Israel now? Oh, great. Just when we needed it. Only after everybody on Earth was red-pilled. Only after everybody and literally their grandfather was red-pilled by Instagram Reels. Oh, now Tucker's against Israel. Thanks a lot. Only after we all get red-pilled. So I don't trust you. And here's my message. It's the same message as before. 2026... vote down. I'm a Democrat now. I'm a moderate Democrat in 2026. I don't know about 28. For 2026, I am a non-woke Democrat. Hi, my name's Nick Fuentes. I'm an Afro-Latino, non-woke Democrat. I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke, moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt, criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this nigga in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached. This fat orange, tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party. We need to elect a dark horse who's going to put America first. I'm not listening to anybody else. No Vance, no Rubio, America first. And that is all that matters anymore. That is the only thing that matters. I'm not voting for a Democrat unless it's like me. unless it's a Nick Fuentes Democrat. Unless a Nick Fuentes Democrat wins the nomination, I won't vote for a Democrat. I'm never Vance. I'm never Rubio. I'm an America First guy. So Tucker and all the rest of them, they're going to try to shut me down. They're going to try to get Vance in there in 28, and you got to wisen up and realize we got to take our own side here. None of this nonsense. It disgusts me. It's like you're not even talking to a human being. This guy is like an alien life form. Who even is this person? Who does that? We eat dinner. He invites me out. First of all, so manipulative. The guy is just like, this guy is a fucking cop. Me and Tucker have this feud for years. I do this big show exposing him. He calls me on the phone, and he's like, sorry I got so mad at you. Yeah, my dad is in the CIA. I didn't know. I just got the paperwork after he died, and I'm just really upset about it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, yeah, like, you want to talk about how you tried to ruin my life with the Joe Kent thing? And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, okay. Then he invites me on the show. We go to dinner. He's very friendly. We have dinner for like 4 hours. He's nothing but friendly, nothing but nice. But he's also like grilling me about stuff. We do the show. You saw the show. It was very friendly. He didn't press me at all. He texts me after the show, hey man, really enjoyed that. So interesting. I'm really glad we did it. Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes and is motherfucking me every day since, going on every interview saying, I invited him on my show so that he could run his mouth and expose himself. What a bad person he is, because he hates women and he's an anti-Semite. And I tried to do an intervention. I tried to tell him that anti-Semitism was wrong, but it didn't work. I regret the interview. He's a distraction. I fell for... It's like, no, bro, you tried to knock me off. You failed. Clearly, you're a manipulative liar. Clearly, everything you say is a lie, and you're a manipulative liar. That phone call was a little trick. The interview was a little trick. You clearly were trying to knock me off. It didn't work. It hurt you, and it helped me. Now you're upset about that because it's hurting your boy Vance. Now you want to come out and say, oh, I regret it. I should have never done it. He's just a big distraction. This is politics, guys. That's how politics works. But I guess the takeaway here about that aspect of it is this. People are always telling me, hey, come on, man, Tucker's a good guy. Hey, come on, man, you and Tucker agree on everything. Hey, come on, Tucker said some base things last week. Here's what you need to understand. These people in politics are not like us. They're not real people. They all have an agenda. Okay? So when people look at these influencers and they say, hey, come on, he's like a good dude or something, it's like, dude, he's a performer. That's like watching The Office and saying, Dwight's a really nice guy. It's like, dude, that's an actor. That is an actor with a real name and a real address playing a role and reading a script on TV. It's the same thing with Tucker. And so you need to understand, these are not relationships of affinity. Right? Me and Tucker are not going to be buddies because we like each other, because I like the cut of his jib. We get along and we're there for each other. It ain't like that, okay? And the best, it's a competitive media market and it's capitalistic and we're competing for the same audience. At the worst, we are in some kind of spy game. He is involved with the intelligence apparatus. I represent a threat to some kind of weird power thing going on there, and he is trying to neutralize me. Everything he says to me, he's not looking to be my buddy. He's not looking out for me. He's not trying to be my mentor. He doesn't care about my well-being. It's not about affinity, whether we like each other, whether we're going to, bump each other on the elbow and say, hey, come on, pal, let's get a drink. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. But people think it is like that. Why don't my favorite E-celebrities get along? It isn't like that. So you need to understand that we are in a war. We are in a war with forces we barely understand. Okay? You see where I come from. You've seen my addresses. Okay? Google it. You've seen my address. You see where I live. You see where I grew up, my high school. You know what I'm about. You know I came from the same station as most of you. If anything, you guys are better off than I was. And you need to recognize that we are in this together. We are a team. We are a force. United, let's say, to borrow a phrase from a disastrous conference, we are united against these forces that, like I said, we don't even understand. Buckley's dad is Tucker. Tucker's dad is Dick Carlson. Dick Carlson's parents are whatever. Like, it's generational. These people have been in power for generations. They know how it works. You think Tucker's dad never told him and his brother how the CIA works? Did your dad tell you how the CIA works? Did your dad tell you about his work at the Institute for Strategic Defense or whatever? No. These people have been in politics for generations, and they pass the knowledge down and they help each other out. They are on a different team. So they know and we don't. They participate and we're not participants. So you need to get that through your head that, like, we really and truly are a team animated against this cabal, this clique that, you know, you can try to discern it, but it's going to take us a long time to really understand it because all we have is what we can read on the internet. They're in it and they've been in it and they have those relationships for generations. We're on Twitter. It's asymmetrical. We're at a disadvantage. Recognize that. You don't have to be smarter than them. You just have to be smart enough to know that they know more than you. You understand the difference? We don't have to necessarily be smarter than Tucker. We don't need to know everything Tucker knows. We do need to recognize there's an asymmetry, and that needs to come with it some skepticism. Wait a second, I'm only getting the open source information on Twitter. All your friends are in the CIA. I don't trust you. You know things I don't know. Why are you talking to me? You're manipulating me. That's the kind of mindset you need. Why is Tucker always on his show saying, you know, and I know that for a fact. I have sources, and Netanyahu said this, and I know that. It's like, how do you know that? We don't know that. What, are we going to take your word for that? We're on Twitter. All your butt. Joe Ken and Vance and Peter Thiel, they're all in the CIA. So what is that? So anyway, that's the interview. Those are my thoughts on the whole thing. Like I said, this is very important stuff because this is how we are going to get along in politics. This is the mode. It's also the substance of it, too. It's the mode of how we're going to get along and make our political change, but it's also the substance of what the political change is. And it is having to do with the Jewish issue, race. Like, obviously, these things are salient. And you have a very powerful arm trying to tell us, no, it's all about economic opportunity. The last thing I'll say about it is this, then we'll take a look at the super chats. You remember when Tucker had on Nayland Haley on his show? Nikki Haley's son? And what did Nayland Haley say on the show? He said the same thing. He said, it's all about economics. It's all economic issues, blah, blah. And then the Free Press, Barry Weiss's paper, did a profile on Nayland Haley saying that he is... What word did they use to describe him? They said that he is a... they had some word in there about it. It was like he's the standard bearer or something like that. Something to that effect. Like he's the leader of the young people. People are looking up to him. It's like, nigga, what people? We're Nayland Haley's fans. He doesn't have a show. He doesn't make content. What are you talking about? The Free Press, owned by Barry Weiss, funded by Peter Thiel and Andreessen Horowitz and Joe Lonsdale, they did a whole profile on how Nayland Haley is going to be the figure for Gen Z, who was interviewed by Tucker after me talking about how it's all economics. Once you see it, you're just like Neo in the Matrix. You just dodge all the bullets. You see all the agents. You bend the spoon. Some people want to eat their holographic meatloaf. They want to eat their holographic steak. It still tastes like steak. I want to check out. But that's, once you see it, you can't unsee what is happening. So, Anyway, I do want to move on. I want to get into our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say. I think we've been live for about an hour and a half, so yeah, we'll save the Iran stuff for tomorrow because there's a lot to cover on that too. Okay, we're going to get set up. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. Let me get my earbuds in here, and we'll take a look. All right. Let's see what we got here.
At GeekSQ, Tigro Emerson, $20. Just get a Tesla and have it self-drive everywhere. Maybe Elon will let you have a check mark too. Roll us on the floor like
You know, I'm thinking about doing that, actually. I'm actually considering that. I'm gonna.
Sweros is the Antichrist at $25. Just an idea I have. But you should wear the Metacamera glasses during show. That way we can get the first-person view.
Oh, it's a good idea, yeah. So it's a great first-person view from my perspective doing the show.
11 cent $20. Here's the rest of what little money I have left. Nick.
Wow, thank you. I'll put it to good use. Thank you very much.
$50. Didn't watch Friday DW Late DP Live. Watched replay and it's so excellent. Was 7 after hours super chat. Smiley face emoji. Love when you speak about how Jewish power works. These shows are your best work on it.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because that's the stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. I mean, nobody else is even paying attention. Even like this interview, is anyone even really paying attention? Seriously. It's like Tucker could not make it more clear if he were screaming it in your ears. It could not be more obvious if he was grabbing your head by both of your ears and screaming into your face like, I'm a Fed. The whole article, it's all about economics, race is a distraction, it's all about economic opportunity, it's those boomers. No one's talking about Jews. Nick Fuentes is a distraction. He's taking away from the issues that matter. No one's ever talking about taxes. Talking about Jewish power is easy and comfortable, and everyone wants to go there. No one will talk about the tax rate, the prevailing tax rate on labor. It's like it's so blatant, but it just goes right over people's head because they don't know what to look for, so they think it sounds like based economic populism, but it's like, dude, he's giving the game away. He's a liberal. He said in the same interview, he goes, I'm not against Israel. I love Israel. It's like, how many times are we going to hear that? It's like, to say the line again, he goes, I'm not against Israel. I love Israel. Jerusalem's my favorite city. Jerusalem and Beirut are my favorite cities. I love Israel. It's like, dude, no, Israel is the enemy, bro. How could you say that? At the same time, you're saying Israel's murdering children and genociding everybody and raping our country. He goes, I'm not against Israel. How could you possibly think that? Yeah, good point.
French boy band said $25. Where do we reach out about collaborating with your horse?
I don't know what that means.
French boy band said $22. Where can we reach out about collaborating with your horse?
Good look at. I just still don't know what that
American
means.
Express said $5,000. Shout out to Tyler and his friend, who were drivers admitted a gun store last Saturday and buying a bunch of stuff. Best interaction I had in my life with people I could finally relate to in public. And a big thank you to In Miami Broadband for supporting Nick and America First and being concerned about my well-being. God bless you, woman.
Well, thank you for the massive, guys. This is too. If you're gonna give me $5,000, give it to the foundation. Because if you give it here, that's like a processing fee, and I get taxed on it, and it's not going to a great cause like the political stuff. So if you're gonna give a $5,000, do it for the nonprofit. But thank you so much, man. God bless you. I really do. It's getting out of hand, man. It's getting a little bit embarrassing. North Miami Broadband with like insane super chats now but I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you so much. God bless you, man. 07's for Nigersaurus. I appreciate it.
Grow I% $20. Thoughts on Fishback pushing colorblind meritocracy and UCF speech?
Let me take. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't. That was a couple weeks ago. I didn't love it, but you know what? It's fine. We'll just be a little bit mindful. But yeah, I didn't love that. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little sus, but I'm still all in for Fishback.
Jackson CA said $40. No message.
Thank you.
Mark said $500.
Yo, thank you for the and no message. Wow, you guys are very generous. Thank you for the huge super chat, man. God bless you. Holy, it's just like now the 500, it doesn't even hit as much. I shouldn't say that. It does. It all hits. It all hits from 20 on up. It all means a lot to me. But thank you very much. God bless, buddy.
Vale got that gel cake said $25.
That's crazy.
Hi, Nick, just for liking my I appreciate it. Do you think the Groy Pets could get pink AF merch in the future? XOXO.
Man, maybe pink, maybe not. I don't know. You're welcome. I appreciate the edits. I appreciate the Groy Pets have really been there for me. You know, I've been. Despondent, crestfallen, gassed. Feels like one of those showers the way I'm being gassed to death. It's like a little trick, you know, you think you're taking a shower, it turns out it's poisonous cyclone gas. Pouring in, filling the lungs. Clawing at those wooden doors. It's awful, it's unbearable at times. But the Groy Pets have really been there for me, you know. As you just look at all the low IQ stuff, and you just look at the war in Iran, and I'm just like, I should just flip burgers somewhere or something. I need to just, I don't know, go somewhere else. So I appreciate the Groy Pets have really been holding me up. The Groy Pets holding me up in their righteous hands. Maybe it's a sign. I appreciate that maybe one of them, maybe I'll choose one of them. The Groy Pets have really been holding me up with their love, with their edits, with their unrequited affection. Love the Groy Pets, you know, they're making me hate women a little bit less. I'm like, wow, you know, these women have really been here for me. I really appreciate it. W. Groy Pets, you're making me come around. Did I read this one already? I think I played it while I was talking.
Jack wants to send $20. GPT is cooked. I asked where to watch it today, and it refused playing in her white supremacists based on the SPLC and India.
It's all cooked. Claude is cooked. ChatGPT is cooked. It's all cooked, and it's all
Lana Del Rey sent $20. I'm totally vindicated on Faith Barrow. She's a disloyal attention whore.
Oh, hey, stop! Hey, come on now. You know, I don't want to. I'm not getting.
Growing in the swamp sent $20. The last few weeks have been a disaster for the new fags. It's blackbelly. Also found the growing that had cool merch designs.
Yeah?
Total About Death sent $50. I recently watched an old episode where you interviewed Mike Ma and talked about BAM. Crazy to think how much times have changed.
I know.
The Inwoods compound LARP was strong back then.
The what? Oh, dude, it was so fucking stupid. I'm so glad that's over. The whole Anne Prim, An Appeal to Heaven. An Appeal to Heaven. Whoa, you've never met someone like me before. Holy pick-me, performative male. The Appeal to Heaven flag. I'm in the woods. I'm a primitivist. Shut the fuck up. If you're really Anne Prim, then get off Twitter. An Appeal to Heaven. Shut up. Talk about faux profundity, faux sophistication, the Uncle Ted. Shut up. Just shut up. I always thought Mike Ma was highly overrated. Highly overrated. And a dumb boy who's being manipulated by that whole scene. Knowingly or unknowingly. So yeah, the glazing was out of control for that whole movie. Yeah, I'm glad I'm vindicated on that, because my gut always told me, you know, those people weren't funny, those people were pick-me, their shit was stupid, they were involved with the Jews too much, and I was
Boss Beyond 89 cents, $20. Crazy fun coming in. Temper's needs interviews, but even Tigers. I'm scared of you.
Dude, everything Megan Kelly is talking about today, it's on Piker, ADL, The Atlantic, The Times, Tucker, it's like, bro, leave me alone.
Screw said $100. I'm considering stuffing my phone in my nightstand and only using a flip phone. Is that cringe? Doom scrolling is killing me. There's a flip phone in the way, so it seems doable.
Thank you for the big super chat. I'm dealing with the same thing. But honestly, if you weren't on your phone all the time, what would you even be doing? Can anybody answer me that? What even is there to do? People say go touch grass. What actually does that mean? What are you supposed to do on it? What am I supposed to do? Go eat at the restaurant and come home? I'm going to get in my car, drive to a restaurant, eat at a restaurant, and then go home. Go shopping, what am I going to do? Go to the mall, park in the parking lot at the mall, walk around the mall, look at the products, buy clothes, and then what? Go home? What is there even really to do? Go to the bar? Go to the club? When? weekend and do what? Drink.
Hey, how can I help?
Music's too loud.
Okay, my friend.
Stand around.
I'll
I mean,
take
what
care
is
of
there
the
even really
LSPD.
to do? People say
Leave
go
it to me.
travel. They say go to Italy, they say. Go to Japan, they say. And do what? Join all those other people on the other side of the world doing exactly the same thing that you're doing at home. Going out to eat, shopping, looking at the sights, the attractions. And then what? Come home? Like, you know. So, honestly, doom scrolling is the new meta. Doom scrolling is actually the best use of your time. People say gaming, doom scrolling. They say you're wasting your life looking at your phone. It's like, well, at least my phone is interesting. What else would I be doing? Going and looking at stuff outside? What else would I be doing? You know? So I'm like, I think I'm becoming pro doom scrolling. I'm becoming pro gaming. People say I have to get off my phone to what? Simulate boredom? Gee, by the way, does anybody even remember what it was like before smartphones? You were just bored all the time. You know what it was like before smartphones? You would go to the doctor's office and you would just have to sit there and wait for like an hour. Your doctor would keep you waiting for like 2 hours and you would just have to sit there like this. Am I wrong? The new heads don't know what it's like. New gen, I remember the last days before smartphones, before even really like cell phones for that matter. And you would go to the doctor's office, they'd be way behind, and you might be waiting there for an hour, sometimes 2 hours, it happens, and you would be sitting in the waiting room, and you would literally just be like this, maybe read a magazine, that's it. And that's what people did. When you went on a road trip somewhere far, you would just like count the red cars or something. You would just have to look out the window like this. You know, like there was nothing to do. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of the best thing ever that we all have phones now. We kind of go back and forth on that. So let me cook here. I'm cooking up a hot take. Let me cook. But it's just kind of true. In the old days, you were just sitting around waiting all the time. Wait for the bus. Wait in the car. Wait in the waiting room. It was just this constant idleness. And now, wow, it's like it's amazing. Short form video content, AI. Talking to Claude is more interesting than talking to 90% of people. So, yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't give up the doom scrolling so fast. As a matter of fact, I would encourage it.
Chickle Beats sent $20. Candy shared her Django Blaze in her latest episode. The chemistry between you two is...
I saw that. Yeah, she watched the clip. Yeah, she's still watching the clips. Old Candace Owens. Ah, yes. So, there's a chance. She's watching the clip. She watched the clip on her show. She was smiling. She was cheesing. She thought it was funny. I just gotta try not to fuck it up this time. I just gotta try not to totally blow it again. I gotta be cool.
Don't fuck it up, bro.
Can't be too aggressive. You know, but hey, maybe slowly but surely. You know, she's liking some of the tweets. She watched a clip on the show. Maybe she's coming around. You know, life is so short. Life is so short. And, you know, when somebody like me and Candace are meant to be together, oceans and distance and the animosity and like weird ambush interviews and misunderstandings, none of that can get between two people that, you know, genuinely are destined to be together as friends because she is married. No, but we love Candace. You know, maybe one of these days. But, yeah. No, white-pilled again. I saw that, and I was like, wow, white-pilled again. She was cheesing during the clip. She liked the clip. I was like, okay, all right.
Dio Tony 127 sent $20.
Let's do it.
How about Tucker saying he wish he didn't interview you? I mean, what is that?
Right?
Great show as always. God bless you.
So hurtful. Like, okay, I have feelings too. Asshole. I fly out to Maine. I'm all excited. I do this dinner, the interview. I get all dressed up. And he says he wish he never even met me. He wish he never even interviewed me. That's that's a pretty nasty thing to say.
He sent $20. Is Faith American Royal card revoked?
I'm not
Older
getting
Cowboy sent
involved.
$50. Latest Candace Owens video. Timestamp 1419, but actually, in Betrayal Spect. Betrayal Spect. Come on, Candace.
You know, you probably misheard her. Okay, she said it right.
Anti-Semitism Ernest sent $20. I think you heard EF underscore deplorable's feelings. Malo Baby sent $20.
Just-
Is it still on Molecule? Ascension. AFB.
Of course. Ascension is, yeah.
Diddy Sprinkles sent $100. No message.
Thank you for the big super chat. No message. I appreciate it. Our guy.
White American first sent $20. This chat was sent at 9:50 Central Time. Test.
Wow. Sounds like 3 hours
Michigan
ago.
Mama sent $100. Keep your chin up, young man. It's become quite apparent your leadership is needed now more than ever. No doubt one day you'll be remembered as a great man in spite of help from all the plebs.
I don't think so, but I appreciate the big super chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. But I appreciate it. It's true. I mean, it's very apparent that you need me. It's so apparent that you guys need me, because without me, I mean, what are we even doing? Without, I hate to be, like, I know how that sounds, but honestly, without me, what are we doing? What are we doing? We got a Jobby up there doing her thing. We got a Fuck Ice t-shirt. We got some Mexicans giving a speech about the Congo, the Belgian Congo. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, yeah, it is, you know. So that's true. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I appreciate the big super
Marshall sent
chat.
$30. 3 hours ago. It's incredible. Also love seeing chat spam Sneeko hate. Bless up, King.
What's the Groiper War documentary? I haven't seen that one.
Lamb guy sent $20.
3
I
hour
hate when I'm in
doc?
public minding my business and I get mobbed in passing by some 6 feet 5 inches
Right?
specimen. Do I need to just accept this? Like it?
Yeah.
Yagum. You are
Yeah,
getting
you do.
mobbed. Yammergoyet.
It's like, what can you even do? You're standing there on the street, and literally like a hulking beast will just walk right past, some like 6'8" beast will just like walk right past you, and you're just like, I guess I'll just kill myself then. Like, okay. Like, yeah, that just happened. So you just need to go somewhere else. Like, you just have to prevent that from happening as best as you can. You just have to learn to clock that and avoid it as much. But yeah, your girl is going. It's game over. You are getting mobbed. Your girl is going. Y gig is a reality.
Soy Toys sent $21. Our Mexican family in Sumner. Our village made Roy Red Soya blushes at soytoys.com. Like you say, book them to free us.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
Alfred on Sydney sent $20. Joe Goodman has been excellent.
Yeah, he was great. He was the highlight. Excellent speech. All around, very solid guy. Understands the issues. He's pretty amazing.
Ashley sent $20. Hey Nick, love from Ohio. Fuck Harry Fish
Come on.
Steve Trump.
We can't be doing
Jared Burchett sent $20. Not sure if you were aware, but I have been seeing people copying your blue and all America first hat on Etsy and
Really?
other sites. Want to make sure you get your money.
it. Yeah, well, we'll go after
Stupid
him.
Sticker sent $20. Did you see the actor from The Boys Show interview about him bragging about kidnapping an 18 years / girl from her family?
No, I didn't.
George Floyd sent
That's
$25.
crazy.
Some of these super chats really do help distinguish the grow wipers from the queers.
Well said.
Apple Talk Grow Wiper sent
Well
$20.
said.
You need to add a cap emoji to the Telegram reactions for when you post your showtimes. I still watch every show.
That's kind of fun.
Mythical Creature sent $20. You look so cute tonight. Please open the wife
No,
applications.
I don't. I look like shit. I look like shit. I should have shaved. My hair's messed up. No, but I appreciate it. Yeah. Right. Let's open
Tomato
up the
Roper sent
wife
$20. He's trying to
applications.
build her
Need
pepper
to get on
Shark
that.
W. Which will not be judged.
Pepper spraying a bunch. I didn't see that. No, I don't like all that. It's too mean-spirited. You know, it's one thing to have our politics, but the going around and antagonizing people, I'm not in favor. I don't like that. It's not nice.
American Exceptionalism sent $20. Nick, I think GIA should also be Gentile Intelligence Agency, and someone should put it in a 501c. 3. To counter ADL annex.
Another good idea.
DJ Struggles
I
had sent
appreciate
$20.
that.
Struggling on the weekend like usual. Watching SpongeBob and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Haven't collected my food stamps. I'm too turned up.
I hate content like that. I see this on Twitter all the time. It's just this like millennial. It's like this millennial humor where it's like, I was jacking off in an Arby's. You know, it's always some nonsense. Like, you know what I'm talking about? That whole. I said this a few weeks ago. It's so true. That's all I see from these like disgusting chuds. These like chopped chuds. These like chopped chuds. Ironic mustache. Stupid fucking outfit, and they'll post on Twitter like, oh, I was checking in at an Arby's. Oh, I love Costco hot dogs. Oh, cool. You know what I'm talking about? It's like this like kind of content, and the joke is always like something like that. I fucking hate that kind of content. It's so... I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. You have to be on Twitter a lot to see it, I guess. But people like that just need to all get killed in real life.
Chevrolet Grower percent.
By vigilantes. Like, vigilantes need to harm these people as much as possible. Like, vigilantes need to go out in real life and murder these people. No, I'm kidding. That's obviously a joke. Like, I'm not encouraging that.
Chevrolet Grower percent $20. W Stream View. I've been trying to log in, but I keep relapsing into McDonald's. Can we get a fruit/vegetable tier list?
McDonald's is good for you. McDonald's is good. That's high protein. Fruits and vegetables will kill you. Did you see there was a new study? They said that people eating fruits and vegetables are actually more likely to die of cancer because fruits and vegetables are covered in pesticides. Dude, the pesticides cook off when you eat the Big Mac. Like, there's no pesticides, there's no microplastics. You eat a Big Mac, it's safe to eat. It's cooked beef, 100% beef, fresh, never frozen. Eat a quarter pounder, it's good for you. You can take off the cheese, it's good for you. That's better for you than fruits and vegetables. So people say, well, I get it from the farmer's market. It's like, dude, that does not matter. Okay? So, no, you're relapsing into fruits and vegetables. We gotta get on the McDonald's.
Sam, we sent Glory 99 cent $50. I want to thank you for being my final push into Catholicism and helping me stay sane in the OK government. Bought merch today. Finally, excited to represent. Saint Michael, pray for you.
Hey, thank you very much. Hope you like the merch, and I'm glad to hear about becoming Catholic.
Louis Living Barber sent $25.
Okay.
CJ Berman Rating sent $20. Hi Nick, first time super chatter. Just wanted to say I love the show. Just curious, are you good at chess?
No, I'm not. Terrible.
Alex Pacheco sent $20.
Thanks.
Don Sydney sent $20. Important to note the other side of Little Tech Populous Incorporated, Cenk Uyghur and Rokana. 2028 founders fun picks.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Forrest Royer sent $21. Only in Ohio.
Only in Ohio. Oh, yeah, seriously. Adrian.
Alex sent $51. Candace Wentworth.
Adrian,
Alex sent $51. Candace Wentworth. Couple bucks for dinner with Candace and her chocolate.
Adrian, describe this patronage network. That's super lame. Adrian, describe the Jewish question. Oh, that's a joke. Candace owns wood, Laura Limmer would not. A couple bucks for dinner with Candace and her children. Yeah. Candace owns. She's great.
Bro, I've been around since
She's
$22.
terrific.
No message because don't even know what to say about these nuggets anymore. $22 for your trouble. I guess that was a message.
There it is.
Cuball sent $20. Did you have an interpretation on the new Banksy statue? Also, if I get in touch with about my yet to be mailed zip.
Okay. The Banksy thing is terrible. That's just, what even is there to say? What's the gist? Like, nationalism is foolish? It's
Gungan Roemer sent $20. Some thanks to you and the pocket watchers over at the WP. Watched through the Ye24 doc over the weekend.
Hey!
Absolute cinema. Some
Wait.
great hands in the air emoji.
what Ye24 topic? Was I in it?
MC Morphlin sent $50.
That looks me.
When they say the main focus of the economy is that so long as all of us lower class idiots are affordable enough, we will ignore everything that really kills the country.
Was that what he meant by that? That's a stress.
Mr. Step Larry 99
That's
$60. What matters more to you? Catholicism or Americans? If the Vatican sent me to go to the U.S., I'd be grateful. Price is king.
Such a stupid
God's
question.
office rapist sent $25. Tucker is aware of the talking points about numerous prime evidence that has swayed down into our movement despite what he says. Hebs sent $20. I need a ratio of Tucker's videos that are talking about Jews, Israel, Iran war, immigration versus videos of economic opportunity. One Show sent $20. Looks Max saw you the nigger, but looks like you forget the whitening strips. Sincerely, bang.
Ouch. Yeah. I'd be right. It might be time for a little bite.
JRP sent $25.
Not that bad.
Solution.
Damn.
Sent $25. Curious if you've noticed a correlation between the quality of super chats and the time of the
No, not really.
H. Nancy Dobbs.
Plus, I get them all at once.
$20. We do $20. JD Benson gave the pussy hole sent $20.
Okay, come. I'm not even going.
I like Hitler sent $20. Cook the fake ass loading. Fuck Tucker and his slimy semantics. Retarded cum Shabbos Hoy. Good work to us. Smiling face emoji.
Thanks.
Renee Good and Super Ugly sent $20. Lucha got $1. Also, Nick, we need an official America First bumper sticker. I think it's
No.
that 6 times traumatized you. I bet your family wanted to go on the big rides and you were either too short or too scared. Vexalum 88 sent $20. Legendary monologue.
Thanks.
Machinist Roy sent $20. Only 900K? Should be $2 mil. Here's $20. My message. Go start a machine shop and help reindustrialize the U.S. Go buy the VF2.
Great. Yeah.
99 sent $20. Tucker is clearly a fan. We need a documentary about his ties with Peter.
Yeah, might be time for
Respect
that.
Rubin sent $50. Who is Neil Patel? Tucker's Indian best friend and college roommate. Company in 1980. In 2001, Patel was staff advisor to Dick Cheney, pushed for Iraq War. Now he's CEO of
Yeah,
PCA.
very true, very true. Very true.
Bill Hayes said $20. Great grandma douchebag Carlson. Nancy Pelosi's potential replacement will be one of 3 diaspora candidates who are host nation first. Scott Weiner, second Chhabra Marty, or Connie Chan. Take your pick.
Connie Chan has a nice ring.
Aaron said $20. Sign it, you're nice. Batman said 44 cent $50. My co-worker and soon-to-be former Tuckerist Joe Gareth says to hug David.
I don't know what that
Gene
means.
1998 said $20. AF deplorable. Can't wait to watch this movement crash and burn. Han says literally every orbiter has fallen out in the last 10 years. Good riddance. Toucan said $150. The unmatched perspicacity was on display tonight. Best show in at least a month. Go.
Really? Thanks. Thanks for the big super chat. Glad you liked the show. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little rambling.
Altude said $100. Dr. Fauci, if you can hear me, I need you to GMO a new leprosy. Fauci, with this disease, please numb the feelings of cringe and GC. W show justice for myth rich and loyal go yay.
Okay. Thank you for the big super chat. Nice.
Search said $20. Great show, bro.
Thanks.
Sikoski said $30. Your show from June 19, 2024 about how the GOP conquered Trump is amazing. Every show backed has been top tier the past 2
Really?
weeks. W.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that.
1982 said $50. My kids are your age. They relate to you and the original AF. You have Tucker and the rest so pressed they can't keep your name out of their mouths. I pray to God for you and your family. Safety.
Wow. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, they're pressed. He's so pressed. He's like, you read the interview, he's very clearly uncomfortable about the line of questioning.
Go Good Night said $20. You are the one that make the most sense and who is the most. I saw a clip to where Tucker said Trump could use magic. Also with Can Dance nonsense with time travel. You the most sane and uncorrupt.
Yeah, I don't get into the magical stuff as
Improv Line
much.
said $100.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Light the goat. Bro's really helping me
And
out.
non 4728 said $20. You were the canonized anti-Catholic pedo protector Seraphim Rose, who was also gay.
I saw that. Yeah, I had no idea he was gay. I only just saw that on Twitter over the weekend. That's crazy.
CJ91 said $20. Friday the chats were talking about Kevin Samuel. That did a dick bro.
Really? Wasn't he that black guy? He died? Damn, that sucks. He was funny. I had no idea that he died. I thought he was alive recently. Why do I remember that? Wow, it's terrible. Damn, rip.
Waffle said $20. Glad you said super chats. $20 and up are appreciated. Some wild monsters think $19.99 is enough. Actually a child donation.
Right?
Taylor
In this
89 said
economy?
$20. Hey, friends. I regret to say I've been let go from the Groheimers and I'm looking for a new Nat socialist job.
Okay, all right. Well, that's our last super chat. That was a good one. That was a good note to end on. Okay, that's our last super chat. That's going to do it for me. As always, remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. As always, thank you to our top super chatters. Huge special thanks and shout out to Niger Soros for the massive super chat. Special thanks also to Mark, Toucan, Thomas Cruz, Titty Sprinkles, Michigan Mama, LQ Doom, and Hoplite. Thanks to them. Thanks to all our super chatters, everybody that watches. We love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
It's going to be ugly. America.